The island of Sodor is surrounded by a beautiful blue sea. It has fields with green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams and lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks of visitors for the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas. Hello, Thomas. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the island of Sodor.
Thomas takes the mail. Every night after a good day's work, all the engines go back to the sheds. Well, nearly all engines, except Percy and Henry. Henry takes the flying kipper, and Percy takes the mail train. One morning the Fat Controller came to see Thomas. "Percy is going to be mended," he said. "I need you to take the mail train tonight." "Yes, sir," said Thomas. Later that day, Thomas was resting on the siding when Duck arrived. "Hello, Thomas," said Duck. "Are you not on your branch line today?" "No, not today," replied Thomas. "I'm taking the mail train tonight. Would you mind taking Annie and Clarabel on the run on the branch line?" "Yes, of course," said Duck. Duck was coupled up to Thomas's coaches, and then they went on their way. Later that evening, Thomas came to collect the mail train. The station master was putting the post in his trucks. At last the post was loaded and Thomas set off. But Thomas had set off too soon, that the shunter forgot to couple up to the breakvan. Thomas came to a signal. Henry was there. "Percy usually takes the mail train," said Henry. "Why are you doing it, Thomas?" "Percy's away being mended," replied Thomas, "so I'm taking the mail train." At last the signal changed green for Thomas, and then Thomas set off once again. But Henry had noticed something. "Thomas," he called, "why haven't you got the breakvan?" But Thomas didn't hear. Thomas was puffing along the line. Just then he saw a red signal light. Thomas's driver braked hard. Thomas stopped, but the post train bumped into Thomas and came off the rails. "Cinders and ashes!" cried Thomas. "Why didn't the guard put the brakes on in the van?" "Because the breakvan isn't with us, Thomas," said his driver. "I'll have to go and telephone for help." The Fat Controller arrived on board Lady. "Thomas," he said, "you shouldn't have left the rail train without the breakvan." "Yes, sir," said Thomas. But it wasn't long until Thomas was on his way again. He arrived at the docks just in time. Frankie had heard about Thomas's little accident. "Fancy forgotten the breakvan," he said to Thomas. Thomas was embarrassed. But for a long time afterwards, when Percy came back, he teased Thomas about it. "You forgot the breakvan," chewed Percy. That made Thomas very cross. "Can't you let it go for 1 second?" he said crossly.